Hello, this is your girl Erica from the Classy Climb blog, author of the Smartphone Millionaire book, How to Invest in People, Businesses, and Real Estate from the palm of your hand, and now the host of the virtual side of VidCon 2021 in September 22nd through the 25th in Austin, Texas. It's going to be an awesome weekend. I have a friend that even gets married on Sunday because I was going to be on a boat, be on the water, and then come back out. I have a friend getting married on that Sunday. So that's going to be a crazy long week. I will be exhausted. So that's the news, right? And later today, we have another show, second show, yes, on a Friday. We're doubling this Freedom Friday up. We're going to be talking about VidCon, what it is, and reporting of credit, and answering some very important credit questions that were submitted. So I think y'all like it. So you see the title, Start a Business or Buy a Farm. Now, many of you have been watching the channel, you know, I've been on the woo-woo level somewhat, and you're kind of understanding okay, where's this coming from? And it's always data. It's always data. 9 times out of 10, numbers is your friend, right? So earlier today, I watched Glidden did a video, and then Diamond Dave did a great video. And what you have to understand is the mass number of people. Mass number of people don't understand systems. That's the best way to say it. They don't understand systems and they don't understand math. This is why Kevin Samuel's channel is so popular. All these women think there's these rich men out there, and then they go out in the world and they're not, and they're like, what's going on? All right? So let's just go ahead and do it this way. Glenn and Cameron talk about what's so bad about jobs. And I saw it, and I said, oh man, I would love to comment, but I was driving. And you got to realize, if 76% of Americans, working Americans, make $30,500 a year, that's the average, I see why some of them don't want to go to work, right? And we have all these people making fun of food service. We have people making fun of these lower end jobs, but there's some people in adulthood that need to go ahead and funnel where they were going to funnel anyway, right? You can't be a waitress your whole life. You have to go actually pick a career, pick a trade. And the reason I'm kind of harsh on some of these people is because I go, you already know women live longer than men on average. And then when they do live longer, a lot of times they're living in poverty. So since you can't be taking these Instagram photos all day, you got to figure out what you're going to do. You dig what I'm saying? You got to figure it out. So when I talk about that, I talk about it from only a perspective of numbers and not to offend, not to disrespect, but numbers. Numbers matter. Now, prime example, if a bunch of people are making $20,000 to $30,000 a year job, and you start telling them about, hey, you can have this career make 60 to 80, me or you might be like, I ain't going to work for that. But a lot of people are like, yes, I'll double my income, 60K a year. Well, then you got people making 80 to 100,000. Now, I'm going to say in this range, you have truck drivers, UPS drivers, you have a lot of jobs that are plumbing or are more hands-on based, and you also have a lot of white collar. The guys that work hard and with their hands to make that money, yeah, they can feel a little bit of way about themselves because they make good money in comparison to most of the country making $30,000 a year. Same thing if you start seeing guys making $150,000 to $250,000. I have lived here in Austin, and it's very much a tech hub, and you'll meet guys who are making $150,000 a year. Short, not the best looking, but walking around and they should, because they make 5 times the national average, right? They're living in a city and they're making the higher end money. So when I do this, a lot of times the number one thing is, well, everybody can't start a business. And a lot of y'all leave that comment in the suggestion areas. And I kind of giggle at this point, because once you get to a certain level in your own alignment, you just go, that person, that's all they can see. That's it. They can just only see this part of the triangle. And I'm sitting here like, yo, right? Yodeling it out here. And everybody can't start a business. Some people like being worker bees. Some people want to be the boss. And that's true. And when I hear that, I go, listen, but you still have to be the boss of you. Don't get lost on that part. You still have to be the boss of you. Now, shout out to Money Madhu. He'll be coming back on the Rise 20%. He just made 6 figures, 100,000 plus hard in 6 months with his vitamins and fitness brand. And I keep telling people, we overcomplicate starting businesses. This past week, I bought some courses from this young lady. She sold it for really cheap, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna review it for you and give you your feedback. After she was done, I was like, girl, this is perfect. Because see, people overcomplicate it. Now, if you're around 20%, you've seen me break it down. If you do 3 posts a week over the course of the year, what does that look like? What do they need to be comprised of, right? If you look at some of the really popular Instagrammers, 6 times a week they're posted. Look at the schedule, look what they're comprised of, and break it down into thirds. I'm going to tell you a venture, and again, we can always go to the top 3. A venture, healthcare, relationships, and money. These are always the top 4 forever. Now, why am I talking about self-care so much? So many people were stuck at home last year, and they had to look at themselves. And prime example, I'm here on YouTube, and there are countless videos of foot doctors and hand doctors and people with, pill popper, right? That show is so popular, right? And you're watching YouTube, and you're like, man, there's just hundreds of videos on this. But that's because people don't normally take care of themselves. So that's why there's this big self-care movement, right? And let me see, is my microphone better?
Oh, it should be better now. It should be way better now. Put a 1 in the comments if my microphone is better now. Put a 1 in the comments if the mic is better. My headset keeps not connecting on time. But what I want you to understand is that whole self-care movement is going to grow 10x because backs are hurting, aching, knees, back, and they're trying to figure out what it is, right? Now, there's always this joke. Fat people will do everything but exercise and lose weight. And every time I hear that joke, I laugh a little bit because it's true. You have people out here with tummy teas and Botox and doctor surgeries and Brazilian buddy lifts and this and that and that. Everything you can think of. People will do everything in their power to alleviate feeling pain. Okay? Feeling pain, feeling discomfort. So if you dress something as self-care, people are really going to be big on that. So prime example, I looked at a lot of pages where it's just women that are bald, right? For various reasons. A lot of them were Black women. And every time she showed the picture, then she would show the next picture where she had her spray bottle of oil to rub on their hair, right? And so I literally wrote a list when I was talking with this young lady after her critique. I said, listen, vitamins, water, and creams are as old as time, right? Like telling a woman who's balding or telling somebody who has diabetes of their foot or telling somebody, who has all these injuries, you're like, hey, water, vitamins, and some creams, right? These are as old as time. Your grandma will tell you that, right? And so when you see people out here trying to do all these new niche things, it still goes back to what people know they should be doing anyway. Supplement companies making a killing, right? A lot of times you see people, and I'm always joking, people ain't drinking enough water. People start seeing these Instagram folks and they're like, I'm gonna need to take their supplements. My theory is once you start on the road of taking supplements, whether it's protein mix or whatever, you realize, well, I need a vitamin. Okay, then I need a this. Then I need a that, right? Prime example for women, the self-care where it was like the bath bombs, right? Or the skin. There's a thing I spray on my face. It has vitamins in the mist for your face, right? And you're like, why would people want that? Well, because people put all this makeup on their face. They have these masks on their face now. They're doing all these different things. These are all businesses, right? These are all little business ideals. I went on one girl's page and all she sells is her, it's like for your face. That's it. It's like hemp, infused something for your face and a facial spray, right? And so when you talk to people and you like, oh, it's so hard to start a business, Erica. It's so hard, girl. It's the struggle of my life. You go, nah, you literally could pop up an Instagram tomorrow, literally. As long as you have a Shopify or a link they can click, pop up an Instagram tomorrow, have your schedule planned out, put them all up in the planner, go over to Instagrammers pages, pick a list. We'll get into that deeper in Ride 20%. And use promos for the next 6 months. Use Facebook ads for the next 6 months. You'd be there. But the reason that's so hard for people to concept or grab is the fact that majority of Americans make 20 to 30,000 a year. So now you're asking them to spend a couple $100 to start a website, get their supplies, get their stuff, maybe spend $1,000, $2,000 total. Man, they get. Oh, that's too much, Erica. I see everybody ain't meant to have no job, Erica. But if you give that same person a $10,000 credit card, what they gonna do with it? Travel, stunt, buy crap. So this is why I don't listen to these arguments where people are like, well, everybody can't start a job. Just say you don't want to and keep it moving. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Now, you say, Erica, why did you put in here or a farm? If you look at the trend of majority of people that keep moving further out into these rural areas, and don't take my word on it, just Google homesteads on YouTube. Trust me, your algorithm about to be all different. But if you actually type in homesteads on your computer, you're on YouTube or social media or just Google, there has been this rise to go back to rural areas, kind of make it cool. You're in the smaller city and you own a shop or something. You know, you've seen the Hallmark movies, right? And it's all financial, right? If you're only making 20, 30 anyway, and your wife gets pregnant, you look at your wife like, hey, we got to we got to become minimalist or something. We struggling here. You're going to move back to further rural locations to save money. You're going to move to these smaller places to save money. You're going to go back to rural locations because that makes sense. It just does. It makes sense for your family. It makes sense for you. And so that farm culture, and I don't mean a big farm. I don't mean hundreds of acres. I don't mean thousands. I mean like under 10 acres or less farms, under 5 acres and less farms, hobby farms, are popping up in popularity because one, they make financial sense, and two, you was already not making no money. So even if you right now, prime example, when I talk about the online business, and I always want to be very clear, online businesses really, but in the farm ideal, a lot of people, I know a friend right now who's getting ready to move to Arkansas, buy a 200-acre farm and make it a hobby farm and then put some Airbnb in the back. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and even if they make $100,000 a year after everything's said and done, that still is them reclaiming their time. Because this is what you got to understand. If the bulk of Americans are making 20 or 30,000, and let's say you start some little online business and it made you 50 this year, you ain't gonna want to go to work. You're not gonna see the value in work. Now, here's where systems come into place and lifestyle come into place, right? If you write on a sheet of paper, you know, from January to December, where do I want to travel? What do I want to do? What do we do for the holidays? Right? A lot of stuff, right? You literally plan out your year, and this is where most Americans are not. They're not planning their year out. They're not planning next month. They ain't planning anything. You plan that year out, and then you say, okay, what business can I start that fits into this? Right? Or what can I do to make my schedule fit into this ideal schedule I've created for myself? And that's why people, you know, are really going towards the rural living. Well, you know, the Hannah Lee Duggan video, she bought a cabin in the middle of nowhere, and for her YouTube money is like fixing it bit by bit, and it's just growing the channel, growing, you know, millions of views. Several YouTubers are doing that. And if you look at their projections, well, they really want to travel. So then they said, but I'm gonna get in the car, because let's be honest, if you want to travel for 6 months out of the year in the United States, you're gonna be like, oh, airplane cost and this and that. Oh man, that's a lot. What are you gonna do? Car. You're gonna get in your car, and some of these YouTubers are showing you they're gonna sleep in their car, but they gonna travel because that's important to them. They will make a way for themselves to travel. So now you see they're gonna travel, right? You see they got out there, they're getting where they want to go, they're gonna travel. What's next? Well, you know, I've been traveling for a while now. What's next? And that's what you see when you watch these channels. They get to a point where they've traveled for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, whatever. Or they've done the real cheap travel for a year, and they're like, whoo, this van life, whoo, it's getting a little rough, right? So they get a little bit of money from YouTube, and you can go look on social page for a lot of people's stuff. Sometimes it's way off, and sometimes it's not. And they make $50K, and they out that van. They They hop into an apartment, or they hop into a tiny house, or from the tiny house to a real house, or to a cabin in the woods, because that is the progression of someone who wants less of the city living and also wants to save money. Right? So again, the online business thing, anytime you're talking about, you can have one or two niche products on it, right? One or two niche products on the website, right? This one girl's website is literally, y'all, it's like eye cream and like the facial mist. And it's like a little $15 or $25 bag. You buy it together, right? And I know she's making killer numbers. I went on SimilarWeb. I saw how many hits she gets to the site. I went on her Instagram, and it's not that her Instagram is bopping. It's that she's paying for promos on all these other big Instagrams. It only takes so many clients, you guys. And everybody wants to put, hey, do you want to be on a subscription? Why do they want you to be on a prescription right now? Prescription. Why do they want you to be on a subscription right now? Because the other day I had something get delivered to the house, and I'm like, did I order that? They had me on a subscription. I pushed the wrong button, buy it once or buy a subscription. So here $72 came out. I'm like, oh, well, then I looked over my bank statement and I've got a couple other subscriptions. I was like, oh my gosh, where they just literally come right out of the account. And they're so small. They're under like $100. I think 3 of them were under 50. I didn't even notice it. And I'm a person that looks at my account every day. Like, I'm a business owner that goes, let me look. That looks right. That looks right. Okay, good. And go on about my day. And I missed it. Okay. Same thing with magazine subscriptions, all that stuff. When people have little $11 subscriptions, they're not paying attention to, right? That stuff is what people don't pay attention to, but some company is making their bottom line because of it. Okay. So that's something I always tell people about. Like, that's the number one thing, right? So again, don't overcomplicate it, right? Because you're going to say, Erica, well, I don't know. If you literally go look in your bathroom or go look in your kitchen, most people want to buy products and services that do what? Relax them, alleviate a problem. What is the problem, right? Because every time you see that, well, what's the problem, right? When I've been watching these Dr. Foot videos, and literally these people don't even rub lotion on their feet, I know it's not the lotion on the feet, right? That's not where this problem started, right? The problem started with they're not eating well, they're not drinking enough water, they're not taking vitamins, they're not walking enough, they don't have proper shoes, and then now their feet looks like this, right? I really want people to understand, like people don't get to where they are overnight. People don't gain 100 pounds in 2 days. That's not how that happens. That's like habits, right? So this guy, he's in DC, Black Doctor, DC Foot Doctor. You can go look his channel up. Constantly people coming in like, well, I'm my dad's caretaker. You look at the person's feet, the feet haven't been cleaned or touched in like years, and you address the person like, hey, what's going on with these feet? Oh, I'm so busy, I can't do it. So something you sell, if you look online, the sale of foot cream, foot bombs, foot pills, like where you just sit your foot in the little water bucket and it bubbles, those things are through the roof, right? Because if you're your parents' caretaker and you're like, man, my back hurt and I can't get down there, you're going to put your parents' feet in the foot tub and crank it and turn it on. That's what people do. Now, you see those people on those channels, there's no way there's no way they're drinking enough water. There's no way they're walking. There's no way they're doing a lot of things. And so when you hear the doctor, people are going to do everything before they get to the doctor to alleviate it. Okay, well, let me try this foot pill. Well, let me try this. Let me try that, right? A lot of these products and services and websites I'm seeing are just simply that, right? I really love tea. And not just sweet tea, but like teas that are like green teas, white teas, different type of teas. And I literally was like, I should start a company doing this. Now, I'm not always going to recommend you be like me and start something you like. But now that I've started enough companies, I know what I like and what I don't like. I like online processes. I like being able to know, hey, I'm going to post this many posts a year. We're going to run this many ads a month. It's going to be this much stuff. And then we ship every Friday or something, right? Or we ship every 2-3 days. I like that model. I just do. because I know the nature of people is to buy something to alleviate a pain, right? Instead of having to do real change, and I'm gonna just go there, they'd be like, well, let me buy this shake weight, right? Well, they should be walking up and down the street or something, right? Any of these things alleviate, and I've been one of them. I was big on supplements. I was big on whey protein, all these different things. And as I've grown, I'm like, well, I don't even need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. But I do need some of these, right? And so it's a journey for a lot of people. And it's one of those things where I want you to understand, don't overcomplicate what the business ideal is. What is a pain point in your life? Grab a sheet of paper and write it down. You probably could come up with a business in 2 hours. I kid you not, you guys. And when people say, well, Erica, nobody wants to work. See, nobody wants to work food service. Nobody really wants to work where they're having to deal with people too heavy. But I go on a lot of these YouTube guys channels, and I go on a lot of these warehouse channels. Men in particular like warehouse work. Hey man, can you box these boxes all day? Yeah, man, I'm gonna box these boxes all day. Go look at some of the girl YouTubers with hair care products and skin care products. They have all women there boxing, going to box it on up, and they will do that same repetitive task every day. Why? I think it's because it's not a big warehouse and you're needed and you're necessary. But also, too, the fact is, logistics managing is a big deal, right? It's an actual career, and people get paid well for it, right? And the smaller those warehouses are, and trust me, when I was down in Houston, y'all didn't see me, but I was checking out some HEB stuff and some Houston stuff. The smaller those warehouses are, the easier it is for you to do kind of pizza Fridays and, some feel good stuff. And hey, everybody, we're going to take a break, or we're going to do a company cookout. And it's like 12 people. So it's not that big of a deal, or it's not that much money. I'm just be saying it that way. People like that work, right? Because they can get in, do the work, and leave. Let me say that again. They can come in, do the work, and leave. Why? Because they have their own lives at home. And me, as a person who's owned multiple businesses, nobody's going to care about your business more than you do. Nobody. Not even if you tell them, hey, y'all, this business is going to close on Thursday if we don't all Monday through Wednesday go hard. They just won't. So I want you to understand, you already know you're going to have, there's an ample population that will work for $18 to $30 an hour. Period. Like what I see often here in Austin, and I'm not knocking anybody. Like I like, I like men, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, but I meet a lot of men who are drivers, not over the road, local. Oh yeah, sometimes we have to deliver stuff from the warehouse, and then we do this and do this. There's a lot of warehouse type working men here in this city. It's just a very common job, and people like, okay, I have this many printouts, I'm gonna box it and go. They just do. So any business I've ever started looking at, I'm like, how cheaply can we do this? Okay, this much for that website, this much for a staff person. Okay, can the VA answer these calls? Can the one main person we have on staff answer these calls? I don't want to talk to nobody. Right? Like, get me to that level. Okay, Gusto can pay the payroll, or QuickBooks can pay the payroll. Great, let's do that. Let's limit it down to the leanest company we can have. And there was a man who talked about how in the future you're going to see a lot of like $1 million companies with one major employee. We're already there. Like, people always like, oh, a lot of these small business owners don't break even. That's not true. I go to a lot of Grant Cardone events and Cardone Ventures events where it's actual business owners trying to make better systems in their company. And 90% of the time they're talking about, hey, you know what you need to do? Fire them. Get somebody else. And even when I went, I was like, you know what I need? I need a social media manager. After experiencing having one and then not having one, that's all they do. That's their whole focus. They need to make sure every day a post gets on all the Instagram pages we have. And a post needs to get on the Facebook and the social media and the YouTube, all the pages we have. That has to be their focus. And their focus has to be PR and reaching out and getting on podcasts. Their focus has to be this, right? Because this funnels into way more, right? If they reach out to 300 companies, or 300 pages a month to get a promo on their page, and we just schedule it out for the next 2 years of promos, there's your business, y'all. Like, I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, I'm literally telling y'all step by step how a lot of people will have a business right now. And I've got on the phone with them, and a lot of people think, well, if you start a business, you got to think about it all day and all night. Depends on the business. So other day we had truck issues. I was there all day. And all it did was reconfirm for me that I don't want to be there all day. And I don't like dealing with trucks when they broke. I don't like that. I like the internets, right? And lean staffs. When you start away, you want to finish away, right? When you start this way, you continue to want to do it this way, period. And I know y'all got a lot of comments in here. I just have been talking. Yep. Somebody said they had COVID. Hair sprung right back. That's right. Get that hair back. It's subscription. Yeah. Kevin admitted it. It happens every day. You forget that subscription. They got you. Goddess Noel, listen, 130 million people bought a shake weight. So it won't just you. Trust me. The infomercials still work for good reasons. People do want to work if it's a good environment and good money. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's because warehouse work allows you to be left alone. So, I would agree with that. I would agree. 18 to 30 in Austin, warehouse. But here's the thing. 18 to 30 is what you would also pay cleaning mates, cleaning services ladies. And that's why the cleaning business was such a great add-on for Austin, because it's a cheap, lean business. You can do it pretty lean. True entrepreneurships manage themselves out of every job in the business. Oh, yes. Like this is why people go to those Cardone Ventures things and educate themselves while they're there, because they're like, how can I get myself out? Even with farming, most people have a guy that's on their seasonal, or they have a farm manager that they pay $30K a year in free housing. If any of you live in the Southeast, which I mean North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, most time they give them a house on the property. Or if you ever watch Yellowstone with Kevin Costner, there's a dude ranch where they live a lot of guys live in the bunkhouse, and then there's a real nice house over here for the manager. And the manager's not making too much more than the guys. So a lot of times what people don't understand is that's a system and a model that's prevalent. So even in farm culture, if it's a small enough farm, you go out and you move the stuff around for the chickens, you do this, you do that, or you get your kids to do it. Or if it's big enough that you can hire some guy for $18-20 an hour, oh yeah, you'll have a guy who manage the farm for you for very low fees, very low price. I have several friends who've had, and trust me, they make a lot of money with door-to-door sales. If it's in solar right now, or it's in like roofing, yeah, they're making a killing. Yep, this is true. This is true. It's not a business. It's a 1099 gig economy. Yes, this is true. You're right. I think that's also helpful too. But I think also you have to really get it bullet down to a person doesn't mind working as long as it's not like, and again, I haven't seen people be abused at work, but I think coworkers or stressful situations, people don't want to deal with that. And I understand it. Which businesses? All businesses. I mean, pretty much the future is video, right? And so your job at some point is to convince companies that it's all video, or because there's a sea. This is how I look at it. There's a sea of people marketing that, hey, I'm a photographer. There's very few people who know how to reach out to like 100 to 200 people and, hey, I want to work with you, and actually close the deal, right? And I think it's a or issue, right? People are like, well, if I build it, they'll come. People are so busy and the noise is so heavy. And I mean, noise is TV, radio, everything, that you have to promote your business. You have to market. Even now, as I'm on this platform and kind of being shuttered down, but also I'm just seeing it from a lot of people we've talked to all summer. Like, you're going to have to pay for play. That's just is what it is. That's the future. They have the ones they like. If you're not Kwame Brown, you got to keep it moving, right? And so you have to remember that and put it in your budget. You gotta put it in your budget, right? So for me, I'm just saying, for me personally, when I looked at these two online businesses that I want to pursue, I looked, okay, what's the time? Okay, where the staff would be at? Oh, okay, where's this? Great, we can do this, right? Okay, I'm gonna put him on the phone call if there's ever a customer with a problem. Yeah, he can talk to them. Boom, great. And why? So that I can have longer stretches of time to do what? Go on slow travel, right? There's a certain amount of money you get in life. You're like, okay, I'm gonna go slow travel. I'm out, right? Or I'm gonna go pick where I want to go for the seasons. So that kind of thing. So again, what you'll see in the next 5 to 10 years, you're gonna see a lot of people go, peace out city life, peace all the way out, and go rural. I mean, I even know about 4 YouTubers right now who are pretty big in their field. They're buying ranch properties in the Central Texas area. Like they're like, peace out, right? And so you have to really look at, really look at, what do you want to live? Where do you want to live? What do you want to do? Kind of thing. Write it out, right? Because it's possible either way. The pioneer woman makes millions of dollars a year. Her family was already rich, and I know people hate when I say this, but the pioneer woman family was already mega rich before this show. And then they came out there and said, we should make a show. And then it, boom, even more richer, right? Right. I think it's so funny when like, oh, this is perfect, because they see this kind of rural, oh yeah, they must be very humble. It's like people associate characteristics that aren't even there. I looked at some prices of houses in Nashville, and I'm like, yeah, this house is out here and it looks like a white Martin farmhouse, but you're charging me $1 million for it? Come on, Nashville, y'all tripping. But people are going back to that, right? They're going back to that, or especially after we had the virus last year, and so many people are like, home wasn't as terrible as they thought it was. That's why I keep telling y'all, women are going home. And I don't know how else to say it to you. If you're a woman, and I know he took his blog down, but if you could have ever seen it, Victor Pride, where he wrote that article and he said, if you're a woman and you look good, and I'm kind of laughing about it now, but if you're a woman and you look good and you have a blog and you have something to sell, and you will be just fine. You will be just fine. Thank you, Ben the bartender. I appreciate that. And so that's what people crack me up, because I'm like, y'all are way overcomplicated businesses. And you know why they're overcomplicating it is the cost to get started with no money, which doesn't always work. But then the cost of, I have to set aside $1,000, $2,000 a month to keep advertising this business. People don't like that. People do not like that. They do not like this. You know, they want to believe that, hey, I'm on the internet and it should be free. I'm on the internet and it should come to me. And that's a mindset that I don't know why we have that, but people, it's almost the same thing when you hear these men folk. I'm not paying for her dinner. The other guy didn't have to pay. You aren't the other guy. That's just the way it is, right? Like, I try to break it down to real life scenarios. Like, a lot of people get really mad, like, well, I don't think this person's so spectacular. And I'm like, well, the internet's spoken. It just has, right? And even now, there's one young lady, I haven't seen her post like her video of her or pictures of her in like 6 months. I almost thought she sold the business, so I reached out to her, but she hadn't. And all it is she literally has gotten on a kind of like, I don't even want to be on the internet. Right? I don't even want to be on there. And you can literally be all over the internet and not be on the internet. Does that make sense, y'all? I know that sounds a little crazy, but I hope that makes sense. Drop a one in the comments. Do you guys have a question about starting a farm or starting a online business? Drop them in the chat here. If you're in my Rise of 20%, I'm going to definitely tell you and break down what I've been working on. Also, Middleman to Millions, in the same fashion and mode, we started a small online business. And thank you, Dewey. And we're going to just document it in both those classes. So we're going to be breaking it down in there. But for the questions you do have, let me see what I can get to you at lunch today. Talk to me. Okay. I agree with your point, but because also too, AI show, people like feeling like they're the manager. And what I've learned now is, like, if you can have a company and it maybe has 2-3 employees and you make one person, the manager, like before they get there, but he's hired before, and and they're the newer people are hired up under him. Oh, people will work for $50K a year, sweating themselves out, stressing themselves out, taking care of your business. You know how I know? I see it every day. I went to the post office, and the post office manager is a redhead, and he's literally like, oh my God, every day. They're always asking me why the post office is behind, and I'm working everybody so hard. And I'm like, bro, chill out. It's the post office, right? Like, I know the postmaster general probably does talk to him about like, hey, keeping the line down. And, all these people keep calling me, getting on my nerves, but it's the post office. Very hard to get fired. Like, you may be demotable, but hard to get fired. Oh, Lord. Sherry said, I had a coworker stress me out so bad that I quit. The company asked me why, and I told them that person was a problem. They fired him because I was a more valuable employee at the time. Sherry, listen, I worked a food service job, and this girl came over and tried to correct me twice. I was like, I don't know what you're doing today, but you better go somewhere. So then she came back around, and I quit. I mean, but it was one of those things where food service, they had people quit all the time. I could not imagine a workspace where, and Sherry probably get crazy paid, and somebody was like, I'm gonna quit because of him. Oh, he got to go. Because they invest a lot in hiring folks. I'm finally doing PPCs. Listen, it really is like, I'm all a believer in SEO. I really am, you guys. But I can tell you the difference of what I'm seeing. Thank you, Davey Lee, for the $5 Cash App. I appreciate y'all. I'm telling you what I'm just personally seeing and getting on the phone with actual people who do online sales. Some stuff is changing. That's unfortunate. Ranch life for me. So, and this is the thing too, people are at different stages. And a lot of times I meet business owners who, when they first get out, they want to move deep into the city and have a big old high-rise apartment and have all the fancy cars. And the longer you meet them, even Ryan Stewman, all these people that are flying planes, they just want a really, really nice house. And when I mean nice, I mean gated community, master community, a couple nice cars. Let's keep it a buck, right? And their wife is chill and they can travel when they want. I'm telling you, the more masterminds I go to, and the average person there dressing like somebody's dad, and he like, oh yeah, we just came back from Cabo. Look at this villa we was at. What? Oh yeah, this is our house. We just live in this $2 million house, this little $1 million house, and they're content because they built the schedule they want. Because a lot of times everybody has in their mind this Gary V, I got to hustle culture all night long. And that's just not really the truth. Let's see here. Thank you, Ben the bartender. Yep, this right here. I'm studying financial analysis and reporting right now. Some of the companies in restaurant industry had to go private because they were losing money. Poor marketing, for sure. Right now you have Dell and IBM in Austin. IBM, it literally has 2 giant buildings. The first building is empty. They're renting it out to other people. It's completely empty. So you drive by, you're like, why is this giant building empty? But the second building, which is the nicer, newer building, is absolutely full of people. Well, then you have Dell, who has 10 buildings, and they're only in like 5 of them. Now, you may say, oh, IBM's doing bad. IBM's doing so bad. That's because IBM's on the stock market. Dell was like, give me them shares back. Here, bye. We're going private. So you don't even know how bad Dell is could possibly be doing. Because, and IBM right now is getting ready to split into 2 companies. But it's funny because I have a friend that works at IBM and a friend that works at Dell. And you can tell from how they talk about the companies, they're doing close to the same. They're doing close to the same. Michael Dell will always be a billionaire, but that's the thing. Many people don't understand that when I talk about promote, and even in the comments, some of y'all be like, man, Erica, you always selling. Yeah, because every day I do these videos, there's somebody that comes on and like, oh, I never heard of the Middleman to Millions course. I've never heard of the Tax Lien course. I've never heard of that. You sell that? Where? What's the link? Every video. So you don't assume your clients know what you have to offer. Never assume that. And that's why the ads and the retargeting is so strong this summer and will continue to be this year. Because I can tell you now, as a person on the inside, I see a lot of people doing an exit strategy. And that's a whole nother video for another day. But there's something Grant Cardone, a lot of them teaches plan to exit, right? You don't want to be on the merry-go-round and the music stop playing. You don't want to be playing musical chairs and you ain't got a chair. Trust me, you don't want to do you don't want to do that. And I've been on lots of phone calls with people who've done that. And so that's the thing when it comes to, always promote. Literally about to close on a small farm and I'm about to get it. I hear you. I need all the suggestions on how to use the land. I have some ideas, but just got there and just get started. It always depends on how close you are to a city. It depends on how close you are to other suburbs, right? Because here in Austin, we have a lot of Central Texas farms, and you'll go to them, and they're not even ridiculously huge farms. They just have chickens, and they'll do hobby stuff, right? What is a hobby farm, right? In the fall, they'll do pumpkins and corn mazes, which, families pay a couple bucks, $20, $30 per family, and you'll use that yard for the next 30, 45 days, right? You have the spring activities, you have chickens, you have all these things, kind of sea and pet farms, right? A lot of times those farms will make $500,000 to $1 million a year. And then if they're selling jellies and preserves, like they'll make the money. Really, the event of Instagram has introduced me in ads to so many farms. Like I buy like bone broth from a farm in California. I buy some kind of soup from a farm in Georgia. And these places are in the middle of nowhere. Places I'd never physically go to. But if they're on Instagram and they're local and they start running ads on that business and they're local, you'll see that business. So again, like don't you have to realize that. That's when I told the guy who's the videographer in here, like everybody needs your business because a lot of things are going video. You have to come up with at least 3 packages for people. Like, hey, do you need a social media package? I will personally come in and I'll make a lot of video that fits on your phone or that goes to your laptop or goes to your Facebook or goes to ads. Second thing would be like, hey, I make, video recording packages. Like you're going to see this in the future. I'm gonna go ahead and put this out here. You're going to start seeing video guys who go, hey, I'm going to record about 5 videos for you so we can get your YouTube started. Right? Because you got the done for you and done with you, which I don't want y'all to get too lost in but done for you is, hey, I'm just going to record it to you and I'm going to give it to you. Done with you is, hey, let's get your YouTube started up and I'm going to get you 5 great videos. Now, what happens when you start YouTube and all of a sudden you want to do a different set of type of video? You lose audience. So let's say he gives you these 5 videos, they kick butt, they get people coming in, and then you try to do a couple of videos on your own. People in the comments will be like, yeah, I don't like that. Go back to the old style. Trust me. Listen, look how people comment when I'm in here. Erica, you used to give great advice about real estate. I wish you could go back to that. You will never be the same. Like I'm not Erica from 5 years ago. I'm not even Erica from 6 months ago. Like you should be constantly changing and evolving enough to go, yeah, I don't have to do that. No, I got to do that. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's a Instagrammer who has like almost 400,000 subscribers. And I think it's called That's Inappropriate. And she was a white mom who has half Black kids. And she's was a teacher. And she started this Instagram and it blew up. And so she has all this marketing, but she recently got like a little tiny tattoo like this big and like a little dot of a nose ring, like the little tiny jewel in her nose. And people are losing their mind. They're like, you've changed. Oh my God, you've changed. You're having a midlife crisis. And she's like, no, I'm a mom. I've been married for 18 years. I've been a mom for 15 years. You know what I'm saying? So people will come onto this man's internet. It's their first time seeing you and they will expect you to be like that for the next 10 years. Pat Sajak can't even do that. Judge Judy couldn't even do it no more. The other judge before her couldn't do it no more. Dr. Phil can't even do that. Oprah can't. Oprah was so tired of y'all. She's like, oh, I'm done. No creator out there can do a certain type of creation forever, even if it's in their natural state. Like even Oprah's natural calm state, she'd be like, okay, I'm tired of interviewing people. Right? So I just want you to understand, like, business concepts and trust. Like I could go on, but I'm gonna stop. Bree Dunham had long bread before her cooking show, and she added it to her empire. She's got the show, cook, wear, heat, and eat meals. There you go. Tell them, listen, people don't understand. Like, if somebody could have grabbed my hand and told me 3 years ago, hey, Erica, this is what we need to do. We need to do A, B, and C and promote this. I wish I would have listened. Because I'm telling y'all, there are major things that happened 3 years ago where one guy was like, hey, let's just focus on real estate, bump them trucks. And I was like, nah. And then there was another guy who was like, hey, let's craft some Shopify sites. Let's get some online stuff. Let's do these products. Both of those opportunities are missed opportunities. Can't do anything about it. Can only go forward. Can only promote more. Can only sell more. Okay, Nicole. Nicole said, I am a pretty internet woman. Okay, Nicole. Okay. I mean, so but I'll do a series I'll do another show talking about farming alone, because what happens is you're seeing some news, but not enough news, right? Because most people don't see a lot of news on it. Farming right now, like, they're short. Like, the average farmer is 65 years old. The average, right? And so then the average construction guy is 57. You know what I'm saying? The average this and that is the average food worker is 36 years old. And again, everybody's like, well, that's the medium ages. That is the medium ages. But for construction and plumbing, oh no, those are the average ages. 57, 60. Not that those people don't got good years left in them, and that's not what I'm saying. But at 65 years old, do you still want to be dealing with farming? Do you have to physically do it? Not so much. Not so much. So the farming industry, you can look up Cape Fear Farm Credit just to verify me, because I know somebody's going to be questioning it. They give you $1 million loan at like 1% interest. If you're under 35, if you're under 35 white male, right? Black or a woman, they're going to give you these particular loans. They're incentivizing young, accelerated farmers. That's the whole point. They're trying to get people back into the industry. And what you have to understand too is a lot of these farmers, if they're smart, don't take the subsidy. Sell local, sell to who's around you. Get on YouTube, get on Facebook, put it in your advertising budget. But see, people don't want to really hear that, and they should have really paid attention last year during COVID that's your future. You have to do it. Like, I went to this guy's thing and he says your medium budget need to be 5 to 10 grand every month. And people were in there like, oh, 5 to 10 grand. And these are people in that room making $250 a year, 250,000 if you don't know what I'm saying. And so you'll sit there and you'll talk to people and be like, that, that's just how the game's going to be. So skincare business. Yep. Nicole Marie, it all depends. It's like the environment, the local area. Anytime I would pick somewhere, I would visit it a lot. We've had friends move to parts of Georgia and they're like, oh, I got to get out of here. The danger zone. And they white. And they in parts of Georgia like, oh, Lord, help us. These some weird white people. You know what I'm saying? So trust, it's out there. Make a profit first, buy LLC, open a business bank account. This is very true. Your marketing can do the work for you. Capricorn saying, for the people who are business owners in the chat, how are you doing with labor shortages? SEO is always worth it long-term, Capricorn. When I go and Google a business, if I can't find anything on it, I don't do business with it. And that's, of course, always the price point. It could be like a cheap price point. If I can't find some pictures on a taco stand, I still may try it. But you talk about anything over $500 to $5,000, you need a website, you need some SEO, you need some information on you. Solve people's problems too, honestly. I have in my phone maybe 150 pictures of where people have the magnet sign where they're a plumber or they're a roofer, and I just take a picture of it. And I go, if you're in traffic and you have a hole in your roof or you got water leaking your house, you don't care. You don't care if that man ain't got reviews or not. You're going to take a picture, call them over and get somebody over there. Even with AI technology, and I'm going to say this, and I'm like, this is why I'm glad I went to several of the Cardone Ventures things, you still going to need people. Like, this is my real truth belief. Like, when you start, let's say you start boiling water in your kitchen and you walk away. Now, one or two things are going to happen. You run out of water, right? Pot's just over there burning. or two, you're messing up your cooking times because you don't have your eye fully on it. Like you come back to the room like, oh, there's still some water in there, but now you got to pour some more water in the pot and do some other stuff and get it back to where it was. A lot of times that's how people are trying to run their business. I'm gonna throw a bunch of attention on the front end and it's gonna turn into magic and I don't have to ever handle it again. That's just not possible, right? That doesn't make sense. What's more likely and more consistently is going to happen for a lot of people is they start a business, they go hire a social media marketer manager, or they hire a VA. These two people are absolutely critical to your business. The VA handles back and forth conversations. I cannot explain to y'all how often we have people message us for lost passwords. They can't get into one class. People message me like, well, I see Erica's on social media and I DM'd her on Instagram and she didn't respond. I see you on social media. Like I get that email often. Well, I see you on social media. Why are you responding to me? Or you respond to my email in 20 minutes. People are that entitled. They think you're supposed to drop everything and respond to them. So your two most valuable people on your team is the social media person who can kind of filter stuff and promote stuff and go get promotion, right? And the other person that's the VA that can respond to people because people have been in this environment. I don't know what it is about it, but Amazon and all these companies have taught them that somebody better respond to me in 5 minutes. And if they don't, I'm mad at it. And that's why I'm like, okay, like there are some businesses I'm like, I will not do this ever again in my life. I will not be bothered ever. Right? Or you learn enough to go, I see why people do very low key, low tech businesses. Yeah, I'll own a little warehouse and ship stuff out of it and go put that same stuff in HEB and Amazon and Target. Yeah, I'll do that. That's much easier, right? And again, that's the nature of business. So you'll still need people. Like that's the thing people always try to get around is people. You'll still need people. I got a national healthcare client, and the POC I have to deal with. I'm gonna think that's people in charge. I'm just gonna say that is really making me want to retire. Whew, that's bad. Yep. Yep. It's hard to say, but I would say stay focused with one of them. Did you get to see our Marcus Quell interview? If not, I would say watch that. Reach out to his company too. But everything I'm noticing from people is you kind of like, hey, we'll start a Facebook ads and see what the response is and what are the and again, this is where links and all that trackables are important, where people know where the link is coming from. Where did they first click on this and find me? Because if you're like me, I go Google you, look at this, look at that, look at your Instagram, and then do what? Pay, right? Just to double check. It depends on the price point. Something small, some girl had something for $25. I looked at a few of her Instagram scrolls and went, clicked it. Because it's $25 and it's not that big of a deal. Depending on the price points you have, it depends on who's looking for it, right? So I would say focus on Facebook ads first and then do Google ads. But that's just me. The farm money, you can go to like prime example, Capital Farm Credit. You have 12 regional capital, like farm, what they call them, the farming banks, regional houses. But yeah, there's money everywhere for that. But again, no, I want to buy the Tesla. I just don't think it's only 1% of the marketplace. It's not like it's 30% of the marketplace. It's like 1%. 99% of cars are gas cars. I like the Tesla with the flap open doors. The one that Irene has, I like that one. But if you want to tell me that or my 4Runner, I'd pick the 4Runner, even with expensive gas. SEO can be worth it depending on how your customers find you. It makes sense for your business. AI show. Yep. No musical chairs, man. No musical chairs. Listen, what's the name of that favorite book we like talk about on this show? Who Moved My Cheese? Who? Listen, these people I see that live in small small towns that used to be factory towns and they went away. I would be number one. Like if I had an idea for a little warehouse, I'd be like, let me get this little office space, this little warehouse space, because they got plenty of it, right? And so again, I would online business all day. A lot of these smaller towns, that's all they should be focused on is how to create online businesses or get online jobs. That's it. A lot of companies are not flexible and adaptable, and pandemic exposed that. Exactly. It takes longer for a big ship to turn than a smaller ship. If you go look at I think I posted it, but I'll post it again in the community tab. The companies that had 5 to 20 trucks, they took more freight than the bigger companies. Now you're gonna say what rates per percentages and all this other stuff, but they were like, right when it was like all of a sudden it was like dead and everybody went to flatbed trucks. Okay, small companies were all on the flatbeds. Boom, 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 still working. Took a long time for the big companies to turn and approve things and go through a lot of people. It just depends. So that's right. Make sure you hit the like button. There's 230 of y'all in here. Yeah, you might need to take a break. Take 2 weeks off. Yo, Sherry, like this is perfect, y'all. People want to have tremendous change while the creator stays the same. Make it make sense. It doesn't make any absolute sense. Like I'm still mind boggled when people go and replay like you change. Like that's why I tell y'all see somebody start out as a fitness girl, she gets into a couple, then they got a couple channel, then she go to a wife, then she get wife Christian family channel with the family. There's few that can make that many transitions, but there are some that can do it well and they make a killing. They make money hand over foot. I mean, it like literally where I'm at today in my life. If I could just slow travel and not do anything, I would. But I have a whole package of stuff to like finish out for this year. And when they're done, baby, go. If that's what I'm telling y'all. Like when you get to a certain point, you realize I don't need this. I ain't gotta do this. Ayanna Van Sant don't have to make another video. They could run ads for like they could run video, play her old stuff. She could put out a book a year. I kid you not. Ayanna could put out a book a year for the next 10 years and make millions in books because that show is so strongly propelled her. That's just is what it is. Yeah, I understand. Listen, everybody has a plan. Things happen. Sometimes you get hit in the face. You don't understand what colors have to do at work? What do you mean? Talk to me. I don't know what you're talking about. Some companies were Krispy Kremes. Krispy Kremes was getting slaughtered. Like they wanted them to, and here's what people have to understand. Everybody has these ideals. They want to go public and stuff because that was the cool thing. Like go public or plan to exit. Like a lot of these YouTubers, like I'm exiting. I'm gonna just sell this in a year or two. And now them same guys are like, oh, I don't plan on selling this for another 20 years. Like you change. The more you get into something, the more you think about it. You go, okay, I built this wrong, or I built this for this. Now I got to change. Honestly, like the best thing was hiring that 23-year-old girl and see what she could produce at like 70% on the pedal, 70% of her training. She produced crazy amounts. So think about it. I don't have any top of my head, but I'll post them in the chat. I'm in the community tab. I'm telling you, it's absolutely crazy. So Sarah and Chan, I was telling people earlier in the channel, I like watching homestead channels. It's usually hobby farms or lean farming. Those are the best, in my opinion. So again, what happens is a lot of people are going to experience who moved my cheese this year and next year. And so to finish this video out, in my opinion and what I'm personally doing, like a lot of people come on Facebook, YouTube and tell you something and they not doing that at all. I'm very transparent. Like, hey, I'm moving to doing this because I see the writing on the wall for the other thing and I see how much it costs and I'm only getting 15%. Like it makes $1 million, you only get 15%. And then I make $1 million in this and it gets me 85%. Chuck the deuce. So again, I retype that out again. I think I'm reading that. I use that book to train teachers in shifting instructional practice. I'm telling you, you really do. So, but yeah, it's just one of those things. So thank you guys for being here. Later show, I'll be talking about VidCon, why it's important, what is it about, and also I literally borrowed this from Credit Irene. She said I could. There's about 15 really great questions she had and the answers underneath, and I'm gonna like break that down for you guys about credit, business, money, and the importance of VidCon. So thank you for being here. This is your girl Erica from the Classy Clown blog. Thanks for being on the show today. Hit the like button. It's a Freedom Friday. It's a double up Friday. So I hope you guys enjoy.